Good afternoon, guys. In this video, we're going to start looking at the metric system, and more specifically, we're going to be talking about the unit measurement of length in the metric system. Okay, well, the metric system is different from the American system in the fact that the metric system is based off of multiples of 10. Okay, so when we talk about length in our American system, we're used to distinguishing between different lengths by miles, feet, inches, yards, and so on. But in the metric system, we don't have that. Okay, what we have are prefixes. Everything is based off that multiple of 10. So we start with a basic unit, and then somehow we multiply that by some power of 10 to get to our other unit. So let's look and see if we can figure out what we're doing. So here, the basic unit, the length, is the meter. So that's abbreviated with a lowercase m. So what this tells me is that my basic unit, that's my starting place with my measurement of length. Everything else, all longer, shorter lengths, are based off of this basic unit of 1 meter. Okay, so let's look at this chart here that tells me how everything's related. All right, so here we have the meter, so we have 1 meter. Okay, well, if I have 1 decameter, well, that's equal to 10 meters. If I have 1 hectometer, well, that's equal to 100 meters. And then if I have 1 kilometer or kilometer, that's equal to 1,000 meters. All right, let's go the other way. If I have 1 decimeter, well, that's equal to 1/10 of a meter. If I have 1 centimeter, that's equal to 1/100th of a meter. And then if I have 1 millimeter, well, that's equal to 1,000th of a meter. Okay, so you can see as you go to the left, they get larger. As you go to the right, they get smaller. All right, so the metric system we're not very familiar with. Okay, we're used to the American system. So just to kind of give you a general idea of the metric system and some of how it relates to the American system, is that 1 kilometer is about 0.6 of a mile, or 6/10 of a mile. Okay, 1 centimeter is it's a little smaller than ½ an inch, and then 1 millimeter, well, if you take a dime and you turn it sideways, the width of a dime, that's about the size of 1 millimeter. Okay, so you can see a little bit how they relate to our American system. So what we're going to do is we're going to convert between the different lengths of meters. All right. So first, let's get down some unit ratios. So 1 kilometer, just getting some information from my chart, is equal to 1,000 meters. 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. And these are some of the more common unit fractions, unit ratios that we use. 1 centimeter is equal to 10 millimeters. And then lastly, 1 meter is equal to 1,000 millimeters. All right, obviously these aren't all the relationships. These are just some of the more commonly used ones. All right, so let's say we want to convert 5 kilometers or 5 kilometers to meters. Excuse me. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to start with what's given to me. I'm given the 5 kilometers. If you want to place that over 1, you can. It's totally up to you. Now we're going to multiply that by one of my unit fractions that gives me a relationship between kilometers and meters. And if we look here, we know that 1 kilometer is equal to 1,000 meters. All right, so 1,000 meters is equal to 1 kilometer. Now remember, if you have the same unit up top over here, the same unit on the bottom, they cancel each other out. And now all we have to do is multiply across. 5 times 1,000 is 5,000. 1 times 1 is 1. And now our units are meters. Okay? 5,000 over 1 is just 5,000. So 5 kilometers is the same as 5,000 meters. All right, and just go back over here to our chart. You want to make sure you learn these prefixes. Okay, learn the prefixes and learn the symbols. All right, the good thing about these prefixes is we'll use these later on when we talk about capacity and weight in the metric system as well. Everything's based off of these prefixes. All right, so let's look at some more examples. So convert 18.6 centimeters to meters. All right, so pause the video, take you a couple of minutes to figure this problem out, and then we'll come back together and look at it together. All right, so hopefully you had some time to figure it out, and let's look at it. We're going to start with what's given, 18.6 centimeters. Again, I'm going to place it over 1 times some relationship of centimeters to meters. So let's look here. Centimeters to meters, here we go. 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. So 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. All right, well now we just multiply. My centimeters will cancel. And we're left with 18.6 times 1, which is just 18.6. And then 1 times 100, which is just 100. My units are meters. And now we just need to try to simplify this. Well, we know dividing by power of 10, we can just move the decimal 2 places to the left. So doing that, that gives me 0.186 meters. All right, good. Let's look at one more. All right, so here we want to convert 5.702 kilometers to meters. All right, again, let's start with what's given. 5.702 over 1 kilometers. I'm going to multiply that by some relationship of kilometers to meters. So 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. 1,000 meters, 1 kilometer. My kilometers will cancel, and now we just have to multiply. 5.702 times 1,000, move this over 1 times 1 is just 1. Just like we did up here, when we divide by 100, we moved our decimal to the left. But when we multiply by this power of 10, we're going to move it to the right 3 places. We get 5,702. Our units are meters. All right, maybe you've been able to tell, since they're a power of 10, there's a little trick, a little shortcut that we can take. All right, so I'm going to show you that using this same problem. All right, what we do is we use what we call the metric conversion line. All right, we have a metric conversion line. So here's my metric conversion line. So that's kilometers, hectometers, decameters, our basic unit meters. Then we have decimeters, centimeters, and millimeters. All right, so this is our metric conversion line, and this is how we can use this to convert between the different units of length. I'm going to do that same example. I want to convert 5.702 kilometers to meters. So the way the metric conversion line works, you start at the unit you start with in your problem. We're starting with kilometers, so I'm starting here. All right. Well, now I just got to go to meters. So in order to get to meters, I move 1, 2, 3 places to the right. So what that tells me is that's what I do with my decimal in my problem. So 5.702, I'm going to move it 3 places to the right. And so my answer becomes 5,702 meters, which is the same thing we get over here. All right, so when we deal with the metric system, because everything is based off of that power of 10, we know that all we have to do is just either move our decimal to the left or to the right. All right, so let's use this shortcut to look at another problem. So let's convert 69.5 centimeters to meters. All right, so we are starting at centimeters, and then we have to wind up at meters. So in order to get there, we go 1, 2 places to the left. So what that tells me is that that's what I move my decimal. 1, 2 places to the left. So I get 0.695. My new units is meters. It's pretty easy that way. It's a lot better than having to multiply by the unit fraction. All right, so now I want you to try me a couple. All right, so pause the video again, give yourself a few minutes to work these problems out, then we'll come back together and look at them together. All right, so hopefully now you've had time to work these two problems out, and so let's look at them and see how you did. So here we're starting with meters, and we have to end with millimeters. So we're starting with meters, we end with millimeters. So to get there, we go 1, 2, 3 places to the right. So all I'm going to do is take my decimal, and I'm going to move it 1, 2, 3 places to the right. But if we look, we have an empty space. Right? So in the empty space, we have to place a 0 as a placeholder. So it gives me 1,280 millimeters. All right, very good. Now let's look at the next one. We want to convert 8 meters to kilometers, or kilometers. So we're starting here. To get to kilometers, we have to go 1, 2, 3 places to the left. So I also have to move my decimal. Well, I don't see a decimal, but if we remember, if you don't see a decimal, it's understood to be at the end of the problem. All right, now we move that 3 places to the left. So that's 1, 2, 3. And again, we have to put in zeros for our placeholders. So that's 0.008. Our new measurement is kilometers. All right, if you want to, you can put a 0 in front here. That's totally up to you. It does not change our value of the problem. All right, so practice some more of these. You can use metric conversion line. You can multiply using the unit fraction. It's totally up to you, but I do think the metric conversion line is the easiest way to go. And the good thing is later on, as we look at the different units of measurement, capacity and weight in the metric system, we also get to apply the same technique, same method. Right?